Investors who lost money due to Steinhoff's accounting fraud will start receiving compensation from today. The firm's share price plunged by more than 90% when news coming out of South Africa that its largest corporate fraud scandal went public in the year 2017. The retailer reached a 24 billion rand cash and Pepkor share price settlement offer. This was in January last year. More than 43,000 claims were submitted since to Steinhoff Recovery Foundation. The Chief Investment Officer of Benguela Global Fund Managers is Zwelakhe Mguni and joins us now to take us through perhaps some of what we can expect here. Bob Mguni, thank you very much for your time. Many people will remember you from that Steinhoff documentary. Let's perhaps start there, because the understanding is that you were among the whistleblowers. When news comes now that some people who lost money there are going to start receiving cash settlements, surely that, at least, that is some good news for people who lost money, isn't it?
Yeah, perhaps we can start by correcting that there was a whistleblower. I was basically the person who laid the criminal charges against Marcus Jooste in particular. So, yeah, I think the news that are coming through are probably the first leg of the settlement. So we basically have a situation where Deloitte, who was the auditor for the longest time on Steinhoff, has basically agreed to make a settlement to the Steinhoff shareholders who lost money in the whole Steinhoff transaction, people who invested while the financial statements were misleading. And they've now agreed to settle at about 55 million euros. I think it comes to about 1.2 billion rand. And I mean, if you look at the size of the losses, that is insignificant. I mean, the settlement is insignificant. But remember, there is now where the shareholders are suing the company for putting out misleading information, and we have a tussle between the shareholders and also the creditors. So the creditors have a right of first claim against their assets. So we might end up seeing that the shareholders of Steinhoff get this claim from Deloitte, but they don't get much from the actual company.
And exactly the point that you're making, that 1.2 billion is insignificant, a port from which these settlements are going to come from, because if you look back at what people like Christo Visse, who say they lost billions, how are those people going to be satisfied with this?
Look, I don't think they can be satisfied, but these are now legal settlements. It's like you get to a point where you say, is it worth pursuing anything? Even if we pursue, are we likely to succeed? And I think that's where the stage is, the situation is at the moment. So the investors were actually suing Deloitte for signing off on their accounts that were misleading. And so they were prejudiced as a result of reliance on those accounts. And Deloitte, without accepting culpability, basically settled to say, let the case go away. So that is nothing compared to what people have suffered, because if had Deloitte raised the alarm maybe earlier, if they had done their work thoroughly, I think they would have been able to save maybe some of the investors. Now, the second leg of that is now the company itself, the board members, the directors like Marcus Jooste, are actually also accused of not fulfilling their duties. I mean, we know that there was fraud, and what the company has done is it's avoided holding the non-executives accountable, but focused on Marcus Jooste as the person who committed the fraud. The bottom line is now the assets of the company have to be sold to basically settle the liabilities, and the liabilities far exceed the assets of the company. So you'd have seen a day or two ago that the Sealy Posapedic, I think they bought the mattress firm for $4 billion. I think it will probably be about 2 billion for the Steinhoff shareholders. And that amount will go straight to paying the creditors.
This is one case, Mr. Mguni, where you clearly have a personal interest in. You've just told us that you went and laid a charge at the police station against Marcus Jooste. And it brings me to the question about where the case is at the moment. In fact, I'm sure in a few minutes from now, we are going to be linking to Parliament, where law enforcement agencies in South Africa are answering for why they seem to be dragging their feet in investigating corruption at Eskom. But cases like Steinhoff are one of the major cases where people actually lost huge sums of money, including those that were invested in terms of insurances, or should I say pensions. Talk to us about whether there has been any traction as far as that case that you laid at the police station. Have you been contacted by police to say where the case is?
Yeah, I think, Colin, you put your finger on it. So one of the reasons why I laid the criminal charges against Marcus Jooste was that the people who are in the pension funds have no way of getting retribution from their losses. So that was one reason. And fortunately or fortuitously, I happened to have gotten an update from the police yesterday. So I spoke to, I'm not speaking on their behalf, but I can tell you that they've completed most of the investigations on the SA side. They are just waiting for documents, and I think they said a number of countries, Australia, Switzerland. So they're just waiting for documentation or documentary evidence that they've requested already, that it has to be submitted to them, and then they can seal the case and basically take it to court. That is the update I got yesterday. So fresh off the press.
Well, that is news. And perhaps one important factor, Babu Mguni, is whether or not we will be able to see that crucial moment where we see Marcus Jooste being led into a police van. Any information around when he might get arrested? Because we know in Germany, this trial, the Steinhoff trial, has started, and he has not been able to travel because he told his lawyers that, he told the prosecutors, I guess, in Germany that his passport is sitting with his lawyer, as per the agreement with South African law enforcement institutions.
Yeah, I think if you think about it, why hasn't he traveled to Germany? Maybe it's a passport, but maybe if you think about it, would you rather be arrested sitting in jail in Germany or in South Africa? I'd probably choose South Africa for various reasons.
What are some of those reasons?
I think, as you see here, some of the recent events around people who are in prison who've got, if you have money, it seems like you've got access to a good life despite being indicted or being in prison. So in Germany, you are likely to get those favors. So I'll probably want to be here, first of all. Also, I'm closer to my family where they can come visit. I think more on the arrest. I am confident that he will be arrested. I don't know when, but a year ago, when I went to go see the police about this, they actually showed me a piece of evidence that is hard evidence. Even if everything else fails, this will be something that will sink Marcus Jooste, and I think he will be going to jail. It's a question of, I think they're trying too hard to take the entire case in one go, instead of breaking into smaller chunks. But I think he will go to jail. Whether, he will be sentenced to a time that we'll all be happy with, I don't know. But I think he will go to jail. I'm confident about it.
Wow. So just to repeat that, you're saying that you were shown one piece of evidence and you think that is solid enough to at least stick as far as the court case will be concerned?
Absolutely. No doubt about that. The evidence is there. There is, I think it's called a Section 205 affidavit that goes with it. I'm not at liberty to speak about the details, but I can tell you that specific evidence is there, and it's accompanied by a Section 205 affidavit. So that part of the case is sealed. So the other elements of the fraud might maybe drag along, but I think that one is sealed.
Zwelakhe Mguni, let me thank you very much for your time and giving us an update, actually, relating to this particular case.